What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the third video where I try to climb every boulder on a new reset. So I thought it'd be fun to try something a little different this time and do a voiceover for some of the easier boulders to make them a little bit more interesting. I still like leaving them in there because I know when I was climbing like V1 through V4 still, like I still really enjoyed watching people climb those grades. But I am going to skip the V0s because I don't think anyone finds that interesting. So we'll just get started with the V1, V2s. So we're starting off with V1, V2 here. I'm not a huge fan. V1, V2s are annoying because they look easy, but if you haven't been climbing before, they're absurdly difficult for how easy they look. Everyone looks at least a V1 and says like, oh yeah, I can do that, and then they hop on it and all of a sudden you can't, and you're like, what the hell? And then when you get better, they're just so easy that they're not fun anymore and they don't have any cool, complicated moves in them. So it's really just not a great grade because even if you're really strong and you can cruise up a V1, nobody looks at it and it's like, oh, he must climb. They're just like, yeah, that looks really easy, unless they hop on it themselves. But if you've been climbing for like a week or more, you'll start flying up V1s yourself, and then you're like, oh, okay, like they're really not that great. So we're in the 3-4s now. 3-4s are awesome, like great grade range, V3, V4. You just start getting like real moves in there. You can see this one has like tiny little pinches you grab. This wall is 15 degrees decline, so you know, it's a little bit more difficult. It's got pockets and pinches and just fun moves. You know, this is when you start feeling a little more proud of yourself when you can send these, you know, and it takes a little bit longer to get to that point. And this one here has pinches on it, which I thought was awesome. It's all pinches all the way up, and yeah, I didn't read it right there, so I didn't do that part right, but I got it afterward. Yeah, the only problem I have with 3-4s is just how broad the range is, because on the V scale compared to, I think it's the font scale, V3, V4 is like 5 grades. So at my gym, at least, because they set as a V3/V4, and a lot of gyms do something similar, you end up having no idea whether or not you're able to send it or not when that's your challenge range. I know a lot of people don't really like climbing V3, V4 once they start getting into the higher grades, but I've never really understood that because I always thought it was fun to be able to climb the things that used to be hard. Like, that's kind of the whole point of getting better, in my opinion, is not only climbing new hard stuff, but being able to go back to things that used to be impressive to you and have them not even be difficult anymore. You know, that's what's awesome about climbing. But I love V3, V4. It's just, you know, all the fun moves come in, everything starts getting a little spicy, but once you get stronger, you know, it gets easier. So now we're on the 5-6s. I particularly liked this orange 5-6. I thought it was cool. I did get to cheat it a bit there because I'm tall, so I was able to just reach up. But yeah, it was really fun. V5, V6 is a grade I've just started to really enjoy because I've just kind of gotten to the point where it's kind of feeling like 3-4s used to feel, where it's challenging and fun, but you're not really going to fall off unless it's really hard or really tricky. You know, I usually end up flashing them now, but I also don't know how my gym sets compared to other gyms. Obviously, every gym's different. I've been at gyms where, you know, V6 will spit me off unless I project it for a bit. Here you can see I definitely underestimated the sloper up there and realized there was no way I was going to be able to side pull it, so I had to kind of switch feet and commit to a full throw. But this is another really cool V5, V6. This one's probably more in the V5 range than V6. It's got really kind of tough slopers on it, but it's more of a ladder shape, so it's not that bad. This one I actually did first because I thought it looked really easy and I thought I'd try to go through them in order. It ended up being the hardest one. I didn't realize how bad these side pulls were. I thought they were just kind of like 90-degree edge crimps. They are not. They're really rounded, and because the wall's angled, you're ending up pulling out on them as well as on them as a side pull. So you end up like really having to kind of pinch. You can see I have my thumb down on my right hand because I have to pinch it to hold on, because if I just lean on it, I'm leaning back and just sliding off the sloped edge. And yeah, I really just got stuck on this one for a while. It was kind of embarrassing, but you know, that happens. You know, I don't look at anyone's beta or anything, so there might be an easier way to do it. I just like going up there and, you know, having fun figuring it out. I think that's like the most fun part about bouldering, is more than anything, is just being able to go up there and try to solve the problem. So watching everyone else do it and knowing the puzzle and then just putting the pieces together when you know exactly where they go isn't really that fun for me. But another interesting tidbit about this video is I've officially been climbing for 2 years now. I just had my 2-year anniversary from the first day I went. I was actually going through my calendar about a year ago, like old calendars I had that I had been using from the year before, and there was a day on there where it said specifically going climbing with my friends, and they took me to a climbing gym nearby. And I actually did not have a very good time, surprisingly, seeing as how into it I got. But because they could all do like the V0s and V1s, and I could only do the VBs. This gym had VB, which is even lower than V0. And even the VBs, there were like 3 in the whole gym. And it took me the entire like 45-minute session, because that was as long as I could climb, to get all 3 of them, and I couldn't even do like moves on the V0s. It was that bad. So this is the first 7-8. It is really compy, kind of interesting style, and the other one's a bit more crimpy, so I thought I'd start with this one because it's more my style, because I like really big holds and big moves. I find that really fun, probably because I'm taller maybe, so I just don't find it as bad. But yeah, you can see there I kind of figured out what to do, and I was testing it, and I was like, oh, I can hang on that, so I was like, you know, gives you the confidence to commit. Sometimes it's fun to just goof around on it to get a little bit more confidence. Like, once I knew I could double hand hang on it, I was a lot more confident lunging for it and trying to catch it. But it was a really hard move to land. But as you can see, I just kind of gave up on trying it and decided to feel out the rest of the boulder because it looked a little bit more like my style, a little more reachy. I definitely thought I'd be a little bit better at the second part because it was more long in my style, but that hold there was a lot worse than I thought. As you can see here, I got a close-up. It's a lot more rounded. I thought it kind of flattened out at the top, but it was really just a tiny little sloper pinch ball hold thing. So I finally stuck that first move for the first time, and I really didn't want to have to do it again, so I was like, I better send it because that first move is really hard for me. And thankfully I was able to stick that, and then the rest was pretty easy, at least for me and my build. Just being taller, I was able to just kind of heel and reach up to the top with no problems. So this one really threw me off. It's definitely the harder of the two. I think the setters said it was the harder one, so it's probably the 8 and the other one's the 7 because they're both V7 V8s, or you know, they might both be 7s or 8s, I don't know, but that's how I usually put it in my head, where if one of them's harder and there's only 2 of them, one's a 7, one's an 8. But yeah, this first move is really tripping me up, and it turns out you have to kind of jump over with your right hand, which is hard because there's no left foothold, so you just, as you can see there, just kind of slide on the smear and hope to hold it. But the real hard part wasn't that, it was doing the hand swap on this tiny crimp, and you have to swap hands here, and it was really hurting my knuckles. But thankfully I was able to get it here, but then you know, things don't always work out how you want them to.
Are you kidding me? I should have fallen. I dabbed on accident. This is such a project right now. I won it this session though. Oh, I can't. That was such a weird. I've never popped off a foot and then landed on another foothold before. That was so weird. So close. We're getting there. I had it. And I fucked it up. I couldn't remember how to do that move. Oh, I had it. There's that bump where you fall into it. It's not that hard, I did it too late. I'd really like to be able to get the whole wall in one session, but we're gonna see. If I can't get the 7-8, then it's over. If I can, I get to move on to the 9-10. 9-10 looks rough. I'm so hyped I got that, the yellow 7-8. That thing was so tough.
So now I'm on to the 910. This one was actually like right up my alley style-wise, so I was able to get a lot of progress done in this one session. I probably should have been able to send it, to be honest, but I was just really tired, and that pink 7.8 took a lot out of me. I mean, that was about 30 minutes of me climbing it before I got it, so I didn't have a lot of energy left. But you know, I was really working on these first couple moves, and I figured out kind of the beta for them after a while, but it definitely was not a quick process or an easy process. But it is a V9 V10. So here I just skipped up to this part to kind of feel out this second segment here, because I couldn't get my right hand to the hold that it's on right now from the start. That was where I was kind of messing up, so I wanted to see if that was just the only move I was stuck at, if that was the crux. So this was another attempt I did at, getting up to and finishing the crux move. I'd kind of, at this point, figured out the beta all the way up till there. It felt really good and, consistent. But this move right here is the crux, which is getting the right hand on that hold. And as you can see, it is not very easy. And I tried a couple methods, this one being the dumbest. But I did have one good run. Right here, I actually nailed the crux for the first time and kind of figured out the beta for it that I liked. And I was just too tired to be able to do it after that. So I was definitely a little disappointed that I was able to finally get the crux, but I was just too tired to do the other part I'd already done. But from there, after recovering, I just wanted to make sure I could do the whole boulder. So I'd gotten up to that move, and I wanted to see if I could do the finish in my own style, which is skipping that left hold and just holding this heel. And it turns out it worked really well. I did pop off, but it'd been 3 hours of climbing at that point, so I only wish I just had a bit more strength left, but 3 hours is just a really long time to be able to still be at peak strength and be able to send the entire problem. But I didn't want to end the video on a failed boulder like I did last time, and I was so close to getting all of it in one session that I figured I'd at least go back in and finish the boulder for the video, so it's not all in one day. I wanted to give you the satisfaction of seeing the entire wall completed and me finally getting this boulder, so here it is.